All right, so apparently my camera cuts out after an hour and 10 minutes, so I'm going to cover the trades here very quickly, um, while and give you guys a second video for today just on the trades. It actually cut out perfectly where the video ended. So uh, the first trade of the week was Jason and Andy. Andy received Adalberto Mondesi, Corey Seager, Rafi Devers, and Patrick Corbin, where Jason received Anthony Rendon, Trey Turner, Jose Quintana, Eric Lauer, and Miguel Rojas. And Jason had to drop a player, so he dropped Derek Holland, which led to the complete game bullshit later in the week. Um, you know, Jason is absolutely buying in on the Nationals this year. Rendon, Turner, Scherzer, and Robles are all on his team. I just question if it's a non-zero number of the odds that Miguel Rojas stays on this team when Turner comes off the DL, or even when Joey Wendell comes off the DL. I feel like he was just a throw-in as a like, okay, here's a shortstop for now, but like you could have picked that guy up off the waiver wire anyway. Um, Eric Lauer is another free agent pickup. Like, I don't see why, you know, he had to be included in this trade. I recognize that you need, return on investment when Jason's giving up his fourth, fifth, sixth, and eighth round picks for an injured first rounder, a third rounder, and an 11th rounder. Like, I get you got to get something for that. I just think it could have been structured differently. I'm not saying it's an unfair trade. In my eyes, uh, Andy wins this deal now, but Jason could certainly win this deal by season's end if Trey Turner comes back and plays the way he was before he broke his finger. Um, for Andy, getting that new second, third shortstop combination basically kicked Kike Hernandez to a super utility spot, and Corbin slots in between Wheeler and Verlander as his number two. That is a very scary 1-2-3 if Wheeler can get himself right. Moving on, the second trade of the week was Ben Nisman and Frank Bucco. Um, Frank basically gave up all of his pitching for a couple of big names and a couple of pitchers. Um, Ben gets Chris Sale, Kyle Freeland, Blake Trinan, and Seth Lugo. And Frank gets Jose Ramirez, Carlos Correa, Kevin Gausman, and John Lester. For Ben, losing Jose Ramirez, who was off to a bad start, and Carlos Correa gives way for Jose Peraza, Carlos Santana, and Tim Beckham to be his everyday second, third, and short combination. And I know he's a big fan of Carlos Santana. He has him year in and year out. Tim Beckham was off to an awesome start. Hopefully he can keep that going. I mean, former top draft pick, prospect pedigree. I get where Ben's going with this. Jose Peraza is the dog shit to start the year, so I mean, if he can turn it around, that'd be great. Getting Sale and Freeland to put with Tanaka and Matz on paper looks like a fantastic front four. Obviously, this trade went through before Matz blew up in Philly, but Sale blew up in the Bronx. If Sale can write himself, if Matz can write himself, and Ben's got a fucking bullpen of Trinan, Jansen, Iglesias, Chapman, Boxberger, Michael Lorenzen, and Seth Lugo, the latter two have starting pitcher eligibility. Fuck you, Benji. Ben obviously has the deepest bullpen in the league, like without question. Give him saves and relief appearances every week, which is why I was extremely happy I won both when we played a couple of weeks ago. Um, Holy shit, Ben, you've put together a monster. I'm kind of scared. For Frank, he put together a second, short, and third combination of Baez, Ramirez, and Correa for one day. It was absolutely sick. But was the pitching really worth it? Like, was giving up Chris Sale and Kyle Freeland, who were absolutely your two best pitchers, and Blake Trinan, who's your best closer, was it worth it for a struggling third baseman and a shortstop coming off back issues? I don't know. Time will tell. Again, I don't think either guy wins this trade right now, because Chris Sale is obviously struggling. Jose Ramirez is obviously struggling. John Lester is hurt. Like, time is going to have to tell on this trade. Moving on to the trade that was dropped in my lap by Frank. I get Javier Baez and Juan Soto. He gets JD Martinez and Merrill Kelly. Before I even address what I received in this deal, Merrill Kelly was Frank's choice of 3 players: Eduardo Rodriguez, Merrill Kelly, and somebody else. I forget the third option now off the top of my head. Trevor Richards. That was the third option. So it was Trevor Richards, Merrill Kelly, or Eduardo Rodriguez were the options I was giving him. He told me in text message that he was going to be taking Eduardo Rodriguez, and then sent the trade through with Merrill Kelly and told me he wanted Merrill Kelly instead, and then dropped him 12 hours later. Frank, your team is a fucking frat party. So much for putting together Baez, Ramirez, and Correa. Like, that would have been a fucking sick second, short, and third, rotation right there. But now he's got Wong and Zobrist at second base, and that trio doesn't sound nearly as exciting. JD Martinez replaces Soto in left field. Merrill Kelly must be the replacement for Sale and Kyle Freeland, because he slots in like at what, the 2? Like, with Fulton Evich and Lester both hurt, is he the 2? Is he the 3? Like, I just don't see where Frank's pitching going forward. Like Frankie Montas, Kevin Gausman, Caleb Smith, Merrill Kelly apparently was like, that was the guys, right? So did he slot in as I don't know. Anyway, I basically got another offer I couldn't refuse. I mean, you drop Javi Baez and Juan Soto in my lap for JD Martinez. That was the initial deal, straight up, was 2 for 1. I had to take it. Yes, JD Martinez is my first round pick. Yes, JD Martinez was arguably one of the MVPs of my team last year, behind Trout and Yelich and other people. Like, it was difficult, but when I'm getting, a first rounder and like a third rounder for JD Martinez, the home runs that Soto and Baez can put up together are going to equal more than JD Martinez. The RBIs that these two guys will put up will outperform JD Martinez. Plus, I'm going to get a ton of steals from these two guys, so that I won't get from JD Martinez. I have now, my infield is Yoan Moncada, Matt Chapman, Francisco Lindor, Javi Baez, and Jorge Polanco. Like, those 5 guys are occupying 3 spots. So it's going to be a bit hard. But when I add Soto to Eloy, Pham, and Conforto, that makes my outfield crowded. I will say this much. I'm looking for a pitcher. Make me an offer on any one of those 8 guys. Moncada, Chapman, Lindor, Baez, Eloy, Pham, Conforto, and Soto. Make me an offer. It's got to be a pitcher. Either starter or reliever. I'll take either one. That's it. That's the video. This one's 10 minutes long because it's 3 trades. Guys, I hope you enjoyed your hour and 20 minutes today. Good luck this week to everybody except my opponent, who's James Santangelo. I hope you bench all your pitchers this week. I hope they all suck. I hope your ERA is north of 5. Have a great week, guys.